summer, Mike likes machine guns.
I like machine guns.
Okay, we're good now.
All right, fantastic. I got to say that one more time.
Okay.
After hearing Mike just say his story, he is the firearms Jack Nicholson. I mean, have you ever thought about how...
Oh, yeah. I think Mike's gotten that a lot.
Oh, you have got Jack.
Yeah, and I don't know why they say that.
It's the voice,
I've
brother.
never gotten angry and beat another motorist with a 9-iron.
Oh, did he do that?
Yeah, he did do that.
Real life?
Yeah,
imagine.
absolutely.
Wow.
Which I mean, it's cute and funny and everything, but I've never done that.
It always depends on the context. I mean, it could be horrible. It could have been a pregnant mother.
But yes.
But I may at some point write a book,
Sure.
if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I just need to maybe find a summer property that they need someone to take care of during the winter.
Okay.
Hello, The Shining. Come on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I don't know what's wrong with you people.
Okay, I am a Kubrick fan, but yes, now I get it.
See, write a
Here's
book.
Johnny.
Yes.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for getting on board with me on that. Man, have to drag a guy to a funny story.
Oh, so true. You know, I just turned Jade on to The Shining, and to me, when we were kids, or when we were younger, I think I saw the film. Remember, Mike, when we were younger, there was no parental guidance for anything. So you could just walk to the movie theater if you had the money at 9 years old and walk into The Shining. And I think that was the first time I saw like a fully nude woman, and it was that like model, and she was beautiful. She was probably Norwegian or something like that. And then she turned into the corpse zombie. Scarred me. That's probably why I was a late bloomer and didn't lose my virginity till 18 years old. I was like, you know what I mean?
That's what happens when they get naked, Rudy.
Yeah, I was. That's what I mean. How was I supposed to know?
I forgot about that part of it.
Heavy. It was. I mean, imagine a young kid. You're just like,
When I was younger and they tore all the telegraph lines down, I remember that being a hardship.
doing that Morse code, baby.
I hope you guys that are listening right now are buckled in, because this is episode 7, and we have Rudy Reyes here. High energy.
Yeah.
This is going to be an epic episode.
It already is.
Yes, it is. Welcome, Rudy.
I've never thought of Rudy as high energy.
Really?
Yeah, I know. He seems totally normal to me. That's a total joke. Again, like, come on, man.
I need more caffeine.
Steady as a rock, but I shoot with this hand.
So this is full circle. We all met. We all came together
At Texas Range
Range Day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jack Callahan.
Yes, thank you, Jack. What a great time. Everybody was so cool and legit, helpful, happy, sharing. Peranto was there. Morgan Timing was there. You all were there. John Burke, his former lady, Laura. It was incredible. Jade, of course, had the time of her life. We had so much fun. I think, I'm not really that immersed in the shooting community and the shooting world as you all know it. If that is an example of what kind of get-togethers and what kind of sharing happens and goodwill happens, then I think more people definitely would get into it, and it could maybe change the dialogue about Second Amendment and about firearms in general. Yeah, I really do. I mean, it was just an amazing time with friends, family, scientific and ballistic experts, engineers, operators, competitors. It was awesome.
Yeah, there was definitely a wide variety of different types of people, a big melting pot of the gun community. And I never once got the vibe of overly alpha.
Of somebody trying to be too cool for school. There's no reason for it. Also, I thought something that needs to be mentioned. We've got our black community getting into the firearms world. I think it's fantastic. I think, in this strange world where we've regressed to start judging and labeling things strictly on the surface, because I believe we have regressed.
Agreed.
To have our black community, and of course I'm Latino, but the more we have everybody involved with the goodwill and the honor, respect, and responsibility that comes along with a firearm, if that is not a fabric to bring people together, I don't know what is.
I like that. I think that's really the direction we should continue to go, especially in 2020, with the millions of new gun owners that have come into the fold, you know. And I know when I when I was a child, and this still happens today, you know, it's sometimes intimidating. The community can be intimidating and can be kind of hard to get into.
So is anything that you're not very versed in.
True.
Sure.
You know, when you're learning about if you decided to hang glide, you'd feel the same thing.
That's a bit high risk, my man.
Not for Rich. I mean, we get a giant glider.
Are you a hang glider?
No, but I'll do it.
Well,
I know you would.
I don't know if they make a hang glider big enough.
It's called a blimp.
Touche. Do you have that little button?
Oh, I love it.
Here you go.
No, it's incredible. You're right. You're right.
Cue it. Cue the joke. It's
Mike.
late, but There you go.
right on. We're fancy out here. Yes. No respect.
I would say what you were saying earlier, I would call that Team America, and that's the team I want to be on.
Right on. I agree. You know, again, I'm kind of new in this world. My last counterterror mission on fighting Somali and Al-Qaeda derivatives, Al-Shabaab, when I was in Kenya, Uganda area, that was only 5 or 6 years ago. And I was teaching firearms, weapons, patrolling, basic infantry skills, and counter-ambush skills, and then fighting, so I could prepare these people to fight for their democracy. I think I went to SHOT Show for the first time the next year. I didn't realize that this was a massive industry. And to your work, Mike, which is so amazing, I was being fielded gear in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan, fielded gear that I had no idea where it came from. And I didn't know how much it cost. I didn't know how much work went into it, but I knew that it accomplished the mission. And Glenn Eberly, is there Eberly Stock?
Oh, yeah, I know Glenn.
Great brother of mine. I had no idea who he was back then, 12 years
ago. He flew
ago.
A-10 Warthogs in the Weasel?
Yeah, I had no idea. And biathlon champion and Olympian.
Wow.
Yeah, his Eberly stock, that stock he developed is now, because he got it really lightweight, it's now the standard for the Olympics.
Yeah, he's amazing. And
if he wasn't so far above us, we'd invite him on.
No, invite him. That's where I came from. I came from Boise. He can make the drive. He doesn't have Hank, the tank, my 140-pound demon German Shepherd. He can make the drive. Glenn, make the drive. Thinking about all these professionals and not enthusiasts, I would say beyond enthusiasm is passionate activists and passionate artists that are into this massive world of perfection in firearms and ballistics, that all these great people make things for an unknown Recon Marine, and they send them to me. I never think about the budget. I never considered anything except that these things worked and it would help me fight better and protect my men better. You know, we should talk more about that in the firearms industry too, about just really how benevolent, it seems counterintuitive, but to be strong and to know how to fight and know how to use firearms, clean and clear firearms and get them into the fight is the first step at having peace.
Well, you can't have, that's the way that society is. There's always that threat of violence. And
sadly.
I mean, I don't mean this certainly to be any kind of negative, but that's kind of what law enforcement is.
I agree.
If you don't do this, this is going to happen to you.
For sure. Well, you know, it's interesting. All right. Because, I mean, I'm not as big and as intimidating looking at first as Rich. Rich is because he's strong, big. He probably doesn't have too many.
Have you looked at yourself in the mirror?
But I'm the medium size. I'm the medium size, Rich.
Thank you.
Not too many. I imagine not too many violent situations come to him because his very posture and size is a deterrent. My posture and size is a deterrent as well, and I'm a male. But I have now my fiance, Jade Strutt, and she's a badass, and she's strong, but she's only about 115, 120 pounds. And we've had issues when she's been by herself, even in Boise, Idaho. Mm-hmm. She's been stalked. She's had men come right up to the car door. And this speaks to the inherent danger in humanity. It's because we're savagely violent when we want to take things. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth. And you can look at that all over the world. I never realized it. And I will say, when I was doing film business and I was living in LA and New York City, back and forth, flying back and forth for film business, and then I was living in New York City, rough town, LA, rough town. When I would walk the streets, I was always switched on, but I also knew I was one man, and that inherently by being one man, I am vulnerable. So I can't imagine what it's like for a woman or someone elderly.
The equalizer, as it were.
Yes, well, you have to arm yourself. You know, I teach Jade, the freaking belt comes out and you snap with the buckle at the eyes. You got enough space, you grab the freaking chair and you're making your way out to the exit. Or if they're on you already, you hold them as close as you can and you bite their throat, neck, or chest and do not let go until they're pulling you up.
That's the way I like to fight, too.
You must arm yourself when you're in fear for your life. And there, go ahead, Mike.
Remind me to continue to get along with you. I don't need my face bitten off. I'll help you up.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. But and we shouldn't even change the dialogue. It's not sad that this is the way it is. It just is. Mm-hmm. Nobody in nature, I rebuild coral reefs now with Force Blue, and I help develop and rebuild the hypertrophic cascade of predator-prey relationship. And the predator-prey relationship creates a healthy ocean, which, I don't know if you all know, every other breath you take, the oxygen comes from the coral reefs. So without this healthy predator-prey relationship, as the oxygen will dwindle as the reefs die, all life on the planet will die. So having predator and prey, that just is. It's not evil. It's not good. It just is. But if we deny, as human beings, that we somehow are mentally, spiritually, or physically elevated outside of that relationship, it's foolish.
Agreed.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that, Rudy. I'd like to, for some of the audience who doesn't know who you are, you've dabbled in a lot of different places throughout your life. You're known as, you were a former Recon Marine.
Thank you, Ra.
Yeah, thank you for what you've done over there.
Yes.
Would love to hear some stories about that if you're willing or open to share.
Sure.
And then,
Just
kind of
if you
progression.
want.
Yeah.
If you want.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, what's so interesting is I joined out of humanism, doing Shaolin Kung Fu and kickboxing and being an international champion and practicing deep meditation, deep Tai Chi. And when I say this is pre-MMA. This is in heavy kickboxing days, but early MMA. What I mean by heavy training, my teacher was from China, a refugee, worked as a short water cook at a grocery store. We didn't have money to have a school. We had to train outdoors in Kansas City, Missouri, rain, sleet, snow, or shine. And he had to work during the week, so he could only train me on Sunday. We would do a 5-hour class in the snow or the sun, and immense teaching and training, and then he'd give me assignments. After 3 years, I got to a certain level where I was an indoor student, and I would ride my bike to his house, which is about 20 miles away, and train with him a few times during the week at his house. Of course, all the physical conditioning. He also had me drop all of my weightlifting for 3 or 4 years. For plyometric training, and we were using rubber bands, and this is in 92, 93, 94 bands, which are now the rage. But that the overt energy used to build muscle can be used instead for training skills because you're young. This is the time to do it. It was that kind of deep training, and he never told me this, but he would suggest it. Well, the Shaolin do this. The Taoists do that. So I cut out meat. And then the girl I was with at the time, I told her I can't have sex for a year. And I got to really focus on my meditation and my practice. I don't want to be distracted. And I was doing this not for money, probably because I was a boys' home kid, no father, no mother. And it wasn't for identity exactly. I think some of us, even when we come from very tough backgrounds, some of us, we want to be supported, loved, respected, validated, valued, not validated, valued. But when you become so strong internally from overcoming, I had worms and hepatitis and lice really bad and was in the hospital and had to all these teeth are fake. They had to take them all out and do this surgery to scoop out all this freaking rot behind my eyes. When you become strong, I was physically abused, neglected, sexually abused, and then in the boys' home had to fight other men, other teenagers that are trying to freaking rape me, But by then I was wrestling, lifting weights, and had medicine. So at 12, 13 years old, I could fight. And so that's probably why I always chose the martial art, the gun, the whatever. But it was to defend and to fight, not to dominate. You get to a certain point where you know that there's no one thing that's going to make you feel fulfilled except what you believe to be honorable and righteous. So that's what led me into the martial arts. That's what led me into Zen Buddhism. Although I was a kickboxer, I was very passive in a lot of ways. I love people. Every time I kicked somebody in the belly or kicked him in the head and knocked him out, I always felt so sad because I know how hard I can kick, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be kicked by you.
And so then when President Clinton said that we're going to war in Kosovo, I did not like guns, brothers. I didn't like guns growing up at all. Why? I grew up on the streets, and so many of my cousins and so many people on the streets are being killed, most in pistol violence, gang violence, all in the drug game. All in the drug game. And I said, how can these ugly people have so much power that they can take lives? So that's probably why, again, I went to the martial art, the hand, in a way, because I was not ready to deal with how savage the human being is. So I joined the Marine Corps to do my part to help this ethnic cleansing and this genocide happening in former Yugoslavia. That's what started. It was out of love, and I saw a documentary about all these orphans in Yugoslavia, and I said, I was holding back tears because it reminded me of my youth. I had to do something about it. You know what I mean? I had to do my part. I joined as an infantryman, and by the grace of God, I excelled at everything I did, and then got an opportunity to try out for Recon, and it changed my life.
Wow, that's a amazing story, touching.
Thanks, brother.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
it's crazy how far you've come.
For sure. I had another benefit. I'm the oldest brother, and I had 2 little brothers. To me, I always felt like I was the father. I always felt I was so much older. Now we're only a year apart each, but to me, I'm dad and they're the kids, right? But we're only a year apart each. The first time I was really, really abused horribly. I got my 2 little brothers and I hid them under a little coffee table with me, under a coffee table, right? We had no parents, and so nobody was coming to save us. So I just I fucking harbored up and underneath a little coffee table. after that, I just knew I must do more push-ups and more pull-ups, even though I was sick. I smelled garbage every day from the rot in my face, and I had hepatitis. So my teeth and gums were yellow, but I still drove on because my life was simple. Protect, provide, and to give up is to face oblivion. So it let me know the score very early on, and it may be the greatest advantage I ever had.
Wow.
That's lemons into lemonade right there. If there ever was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
So you Recon Marine, and then you know, really cool after your experience there.
Just recently. I wish I could tell you more. It's so special. One of the finest media organizations in the world has asked me and is interested in me in being on one of their productions. And that's all I can say. But it's very high caliber. And when the word goes through and I sign the paperwork, you all will be the first to know, and you'll see what I mean.
Awesome.
They were asking me about my war experiences, and they asked when I was afraid. And I guess because the last time I was a team leader, you know, doing all my sniper work and counter-terror, counterinsurgency, some heavy stuff, dressing as a Turkish laundromat worker to be kidnapped in a taxi cab so we could draw out the insurgents so that when we went to guns, we didn't kill any civilians. Heavy stuff. I never once was scared for some reason, but that was my last tour. Fallujah, Ramadi, the most dangerous places in the world. But I was so equipped and so trained, I had so much experience. But so when they said, what was I afraid of? I'm like, I was afraid of nothing. Fear will paralyze your mind. But then, after some revelation, I remembered some of my missions before. When taking immense gunfire after chopping our way through this Hogan's Alley, ahead of tanks, ahead of armor, because we were leading the invasion. And I already fought in Afghanistan and Pakistan in 01 and 02. So I was already seasoned. We came through a T intersection, being engaged on both sides, close quarter. We're on a street, so they're hitting us from the buildings, close quarter, danger close, point blank. The enemy was wise enough to string wire across at the head height and neck height of our gunners, right? Going at speed, being engaged by, RPK and RPGs, and us blasting point blank with Mark 19, 40 Mike grenades and 50 cals and of course small arms, and being hit on both sides, and us just chopping our way through. And I'm driving, and I thought, as I'm hearing my radio man pouring fire, because he's right over my shoulder here, and I'm driving, I'm the assistant team leader, right? And my ears being blown out, and then I hear my team leader screaming, but it sounds like muffled. He just said, just drive. And then I see this building collapse. Whoa, boom, because Jax has been hitting it with the Mark 19. And then fire's coming into us, and it's this shamal winds and a sandstorm, rainstorm coming in too.
Jeez.
And I'm hitting about 40 or 50 miles an hour, trying to stay within 50 feet of the lead vehicle, of the vehicle ahead of me. And then the gunner gets hit by the freaking wire, and he flies out of the turret and somehow grabs a hold of the gypsy rack in the back and is driving. That wire snaps, hits the winch on my Humvee, rips off the winch, rips off the mirror, but I'm driving like this, smashes my elbow, almost rips my freaking shoulder out of socket, because we're at speed and it's snapping and it's immense. We're chopping our way through here at speed, and now we hit a T intersection and defilade. Everybody's driving so fast. Our heaviest truck hits the lip, flies into defilade, and there's something called sabka, which is a crust that can take about 300 or 400 pounds, but it's all oil underneath, so the vehicle sunk down. And as I hit the T intersection, I see that it's sunk down, and I cut my wheel, so I hit the freaking side, and 2 of my wheels sink, but I still got some purchase, and I grind, and I pull myself to the left. Some other vehicles get sunken. Now the enemy is across the street at this gas station and massing across the street, and they're pouring fire, and it's going right over our heads because we're in defilade. We're about 5-6 feet defilade, and I'm hunched down. And as an assistant team leader, my job is security, making sure everybody's up and out, watches, so on and so forth, fire watch, observations, and gear accountability. Made sure all of our gear, stuff is going off, man. And we're all screaming to each other and looking in each other's eyes so that we can understand each other. We normally grab each other and just talk to each other this close so we know, and then you give a nod so that you roger up. Our vehicle was good. My heavy gun was up and pouring fire, but the heavy Humvee that had the computer system for the first Blue Force tracker in the Marine Corps, which we had, was sinking, so we had to tow it out. I'm not the best truck driver, brother, but my team leader from North Carolina, Sean Patrick, he used to brag years before, we'd been in platoon together for years, that you really got to be, you got to have something upstairs if you can back up a trailer with the trailer hitch. You know what I'm saying? Geometries and such. So I rig up the vehicle for tow, and he's going to pull it out, and the fire is still coming in. My job is security. Without anybody giving me an order, I said, Brunmeyer, Chafin, my 2 brothers and my team, we have to push and secure this area because they're still shooting heavy into us. So we're running to the berm. And then as I'm getting closer, I'm weasel walking to the berm. Then as we get closer to the top, I'm low crawling to the berm. And that's when I think I'm never going to see my family again. And this is it. Because I'm crawling over the berm while I see that Iraqi in that gas station over there standing, shooting his AK right at me, and it's going everywhere. This is it. And I said, Budweiser, you take 9 o'clock. That means from 9 to 12. Chafin. And his name's Brunmeyer. I always called him Budweiser. I said, Chafin, you got 3 o'clock, just in case, because we're taking fire. I know we've got to fight and kill them. But what happens is that people get target fixation. And if they have anybody flanking, we're going to get smoked. So as they're shooting at us, I had the wherewithal to say those few words. And then we poured fire in and we killed them. But that I had the wherewithal. And that was frightening. All of that was frightening. I was very much expecting to die. I guess what happens is you get desensitized doing missions like that for so long. After a while, it just is compartmentalized out of your mind because there's no purpose in it. As long as you are professional and always maintain security. So that's a little something.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that's.
I know, right?
Wow.
When I was in the mental institution, I was interned in a mental institution for a year for guys like me, and I was falling apart. It's about 5-6 years ago, and when they had the head shrinkers come in and the doctors say, "Well, can you describe to me, in a situation where you saw violence or dead bodies?" I said, "Well, which one you want to talk about?"
Jeez,
It's every day, every night. What are you talking about? And then I started kind of unraveling, and this is where some of the stress and the things that we call PTSD. It's that for us, it's that it does not make sense back here. So look, when even a professional doctor from the Veteran Administration Hospital is asking about this, how you don't even know how to begin to make interface with this, and then I'm thinking about everything I've done. I'm like, well, which one's fucking good enough for you? You wanna talk about me freaking pulling this little girl out of the back of this fucking car with her fucking head coming off, or you want me to talk about when I fucking smoked this freaking woman, or you want to talk about me when I had to fucking do a battle damage assessment for fucking dropping close air support where we were taking fire and seeing some fucking people on fire? What do you want to talk about?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can imagine. You can imagine.
What a journey.
I can't imagine that. I mean, I get what you're saying, but
It's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Anything.
And then there was some beauty. There's so much beauty too, though, you all. The beauty of your brothers fucking fighting right alongside of you. And the levity in this immense danger. RPGs flying everywhere. And you know, you've got to shoot this guy in the freaking head. You've already zipped him up 3 or 4 times, but you have to hit him in the head before you're moving forward. And we remember kind of like laughing to each other because it's a levity, because we know we're all going to die. So just keep doing it. Keep going. You know?
Gosh, and the way you just like tell the story with such detail, like I'm sucked in and trying to conceptualize the feelings and emotions at that moment. Like, I don't even know how you would even describe that, like experiencing it and then having someone ask you about it.
That's it. And remember, I was mentally ill then, and I was very mentally ill and disconnected. I couldn't describe it. All I did is start to like shake and start to cry and start to want to fuck somebody up because it felt so insensitive. But it's not their fault. It's just there's a massive chasm between what I call combat, which in the third world is every day. Right.
Well, I'll tell you, I can't describe how thankful I am for my life and how easy it's been.
Oh, my man.
When I hear something like that,
Yeah.
I'm super thankful that there are people to do that, so I've never had to even imagine it. I mean, my life goes like yesterday I had to make a decision on what to order off the menu. You know, to put it in perspective, and I think that's probably how the bulk of the people
Listening
to this have never had to deal with anything like that whatsoever.
And then there's fellow brothers that are listening too, that are walking through it with you, and you know, and you've been fortunate too, following. You know, you've done some really cool stuff, man.
Thank you.
Leading up to today, there was what was the show on HBO?
Oh, Generation Kill is what kind
Kill.
of set it off for me to get into the media. You know that Colonel Grossman, who wrote On Combat, On Killing, he has a wonderful way of saying post-traumatic stress growth. How about not PTSD, PTSG, post-traumatic stress growth. So I'm very interested in the growth, and I've had to, or else, you know, we fall by our own hand. We have issues with suicide. We have, of course, immense drug and alcohol dependency, and a lot of the drugs are coming from the VA. I've got a great recon brother that fought hard in El Anbar province and fought hard in Fallujah, and he has been so heavily medicated by VA mood stabilizers, tranquilizers, that he was so addicted he almost died when he got off of it and had to go into hospital. There's a lot going on, but in the trauma world. Let's start changing it into the growth world, and that's why I'm trying to live my life an example in that way. So yeah, I got into media, and I thought, well, all right, this is an opportunity. I just turned Jade on. To the freaking deer hunter the other day. And I showed her.
DD Mao.
Yeah, that's it. I showed her that scene with the Russian roulette. And when Michael, De Niro's character, when he's Mao, slapping him, and he gets up to fucking kill him. And then they push his AKs on his neck, and then he goes, oh, and then he's like, you know, he's like, Nicky! And he starts to cry, Nicky, come on, Nicky! Okay, it's okay, wow. Nicky. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Nikki. It's okay. It's okay, Nikki. And he goes, click. And he goes, remember when he goes,
You do that scene really well.
And that is why they couldn't find someone to play you.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And you had to play you.
And that feeling of click. That's the feeling I had. They're letting me into media. I'm going to show you this clicking. I'm going to show you what it's really about. Not for entertainment, but for the human experience. And that's what really kept me going through it, even though it's very hard business. And it's a backbreaker because not often the best guy wins. The best guy in competition wins. In that business, it's so convoluted and complex. Sometimes the best, I've had actors say they don't want to work with me even though I am just a supporting actor, small little supporting role, because of the way I look next to them, because they were stars, and I didn't get the job. So very hard. Wow. Very hard.
All that body sculpting you're doing.
Yeah, you're too pretty for the pretty people, and they know it.
Yeah.
When I did Generation Kill, Ed Burns, the writer, who's a Vietnam veteran, airborne teacher, policeman, he said to me, and I didn't understand, you don't understand what you don't understand. We sat and talked and hung out in between episodes in South Africa, in Uppington, the Northern Cape. And he said, Rudy, I'm just going to let you know, you're going to have a real hard time in this business. I was 37, I think, at the time. You're going to have a real hard time in this business. Your acting's not good enough, and you're not a theater guy to compete at the highest level in Broadway or be a leading man. And you're not going to get any supporting roles because you look too aggressive and you're too beautiful. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? He was telling the truth, but I couldn't understand it because I came from a world of honest competition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we all know that's not what Hollywood is.
No, I hear you. And I love how all of the veneers are being stripped away. And we're seeing finally publicly that it's the mafia and there's abuse rampant in it. And people are willing to sell themselves to be famous. There's something wrong in our American culture and human culture where fame and the narcissism involved with being so concerned is what's idolized in our nation. I think it's all falling apart. We're seeing that so many of these men are abusing women, men are abusing men. Kevin Spacey's a great example of that. There's so much nastiness. Calvin Klein brought me down to Miami Beach. I thought to model. I thought to model and to be professional. No, the deal was he would give me work if I slept with him. And this is a true fucking story.
Whoa.
And Calvin, if you're still alive, say hello to your motherfucking boy.
Dang.
And I found myself out there with Calvin Klein and two other old gay men, two young models, and we're walking the streets of Miami Beach. And then I finally hit me, holy shit, we're the bitches here. And he asked me to sleep. It was guys, you can't imagine how dirty this world is. I flew in, I was married at the time. You can imagine, I'm so happy. My wife at the time, oh my God, Rudy, you're going to get out of gunfighting. You can model. We can maybe get a used car. We're both from humble beginnings. And I was so excited. I get there, and his limo people pick me up, bring me to his house, his sex house. I guess he's got another great big mansion. This is like his freaking bungalow for his little young man, right? Obviously, he didn't know that I'm a fucking face eater. I guess he just because.
And let's not forget about the neck.
The neck. That's right. So when he's like, he's an older man. I had no idea he was gay. I'd never even seen Calvin Klein. And because he's married, he's got kids, all this bullshit. And he invites me, they bring me up to his bungalow on the beach, Miami Beach, on the beach. And he invites me in. And as you walk in, it's all cement, polished cement. There's a bed, a beautiful freaking bed over here, a chair, and like a light table for photographs, a chair, light table, bed, and as you walk in, a polished concrete bench, and then a shower, and I saw a surfboard. So I'm thinking, oh, from the beach, and he says, oh, I'm just getting ready, and he was around the corner. I thought around the corner was a whole nother room and a shower or something, a bathroom. I just got there. I didn't know, and I was not in the film or entertainment business yet. I didn't know what was going on. And I walk in there, and and he says, do you want to shower up? And we're going to go get something to eat. And I said, sure, of course. Looking around, I'm like, well, fuck, where do I hang up my shit? So I take off my clothes, put them on the bench, turn on the shower, because I get a shower. The shower's in the living room, you all. The shower's in the living room. You understand? There's no walls, there's nothing. But I thought maybe it was just for you coming off the beach, and there's another shower when you want privacy. Mm. So I shower up really fast, right? And then I'm like, where the fuck is the towel? I'm like, where is it? And then I look over my shoulder, and this is the truth, man. This fucking disgusting man is just staring at me up and down, staring at me with the towel in his hand, just checking me out like that. And right there, I knew the fucking score. I took the fucking towel, and I was almost fucking crying inside that this is what someone would think about with an American fighting man.
Wow.
It's been a hell of a fucking journey.
Well, it's someone that's about to get their face eaten off.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm burning my Calvin Klein. I'm sorry I own some.
It's all right. Well, it's so, can you imagine this?
Jeez. It doesn't, I mean, we're hearing more and more stories like this today in the news and the Me Too movement and all that.
Isn't that interesting? They don't know too much about the Me Too movement. That it goes both ways. I had people in other productions, powerful female producers and directors, come on to me, and then how about this? I had actors, quite powerful, famous actors, or at least now, or I had actors that said, Rudy, fuck this producer or director, fuck them, and you're going to get a lot of work. And again, I was like, do you realize I'm an American fighting man? Like, I did not get this far in my life because I'm willing to fuck my way anywhere. You know?
Wow.
You've got to keep your moral character.
It is. It's all we got, really. Or even our bodies, our health, everything, our youth, it goes away. But that character values, the core values. It is said a lot, and people don't really mean it, but it is true. And I think they're slightly unique for everybody, but I think they're a lot more universal than people will admit. Mm-hmm. Honor, courage, commitment, that's the Marine Corps thing. It kind of covers a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. You've got to keep that.
Well said. It's so true. So true, brother. I did a little research on you, Mike, about your, how you started up and you being a tinker and you always being an independent operator and, you know vehicles and you've been working on weapon systems and suppressors for quite some time and all of the very, very techie and savant shooters know Mike Pappas. So I was looking online and like an example of one of the tag phrases is the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, Mike Pappas. I mean, rad, right? And Mike, tell him about when we first met and we did not know each other. And it was the Galil I was talking about in the deadpan delivery. The man, I thought the brother was just working for Dead Air. I didn't know that this is, damn it.
The legend.
I didn't know because we
People call him a national treasure.
Yes.
You got to protect the national treasure.
And we made friends, brother, because you didn't know, or I didn't know your fame in this space. And I was direct and open with you as a person, as a man, and you were the vice versa. And then I found out later, and that's what makes it even more special to me.
Well, I don't know why people say or think things like that. I'm just a regular gun guy trying to help other gun guys.
Sure.
And I would never approach anyone and try to big man or push them around or whatever. We're just two people, right? Sharing a common interest.
The tireless dedication to duty, though, is what puts you in another realm, and that doesn't need to be embroidered on your shirt. It doesn't need to be on your ball cap, and you don't need any sycophants to say that. The very nature of the tireless dedication to excellence and duty, it just kind of permeates everything about you. And then I find out more and more. Mm-hmm. But most importantly, what I found out is what a rad dude you were. And that says it all.
Mm-hmm. I like to be easy to get along with.
And the deadpan humor, baby. I'm learning a little bit.
Well, the humor, I think, comes from being mostly mentally a little bit slow.
You think so? Do you think you're mentally slow, or maybe that you process so deeply how you express yourself comes across slow? I'm curious.
No, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think everybody has a different way about them.
For sure.
I'm not too fast, as it were.
Got you.
That's Mike's way of saying he's, without saying it, one step ahead of everybody in the room.
Yeah. I don't know that. I'm always thinking, I think.
I don't know, because I feel like sometimes, this is where some of the deadpan humor comes up.
Yes.
And sometimes I can't understand if you're being sarcastic.
Like,
or
there's
real.
a lag time sometimes, right? It hits you about 3 minutes later. Oh, he was fucking with me.
Yeah, I'll say something, and then Mike will know if he says something like this, that it's going to invoke this type of response, and he'll say it, and I'm like, just walking through your trap.
I'm curious. My team leader, Sean Patrick, reminds me a lot of you, brother, and he's from North Carolina, grew up dirt poor, only child, father and mother. I don't think they even made it through high school, working in a butcher and meat processing plant. And his dad was the finest huntsman, tracker, and shooter in the region. So he would do outfitting trips. But this is this is not like now when we got all the reality shows and all the big meat hunters and all this bullshit. It wasn't a big business. It was a niche art form that those deeply moved by doing this essential and primitive works, hunting, tracking, killing, dressing, and bringing meat home to the family, where it really meant something, right? Way before.
Sure. Food on the table.
You got it, brother. So his father, the finest freaking huntsman and tracker, and taught Sean everything he knew. And he grew up a hardtack, hardscrabble existence. Sean he was working as well to subsistence, to help his family. They were living in a trailer in the mountains and the hills, and shooting lots of their game to eat. And he excelled in baseball, and then went to the Marine Corps instead, foregoing the college scholarship because he needed to send money home. Infantryman, became a Recon Marine, fought in Somalia, fought in Haiti, and then was seasoned when he came to me. He was very slow to talk, and he thought deeply before he said anything. And I think that's some of the patience that long-range shooters have, hunters have, maybe possibly poker and pool players too, where there's strategy and there's a lot of information to refine before it would be wise to say a single word. I think that's what you remind me of, Mike. That's the vibe I got from you, and I am a very good judge of character and intelligence because I've worked with people all over the world. I've been in Saddam's palaces. I've been in a baron's palace in England, working for working on Nanny McPhee. I've been in Hong Kong. And then, of course, I've been in the roughest, toughest freaking places. Mike, you've got that sensibility. Let it simmer. Let it refine. And then I'll say a few things.
Well, that's super kind of you to say.
You got it,
really
brother.
is.
You got it, brother.
I'm honored.
You got it, brother. I'm so happy I'm here. I came out here for you all. You
Yeah,
know, I don't do a lot of this, but
I'm super excited that you take the time and make, what was that, 6 or 8 hour drive?
yeah, 6.
6, that's
It's all right. It's worth it.
12 by the time you get home, plus dog and
Sure.
Jay.
Sure. It's worth it. It's worth
Well,
it.
we're honored to have you on.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Rich, are you having a good time too?
Yes, my brain is just, I'm absorbing so much right now.
Thanks,
Rudy,
bro.
you and I have gotten to know each other pretty
Yes.
well the last
I love you, brother.
last year. Yeah, I love you too, man. And hearing new stories is always awesome because there's so many layers to Rudy Reyes. And
Some of that's the age.
Yeah.
People don't know I'm 49. I'll be 50 years old this year. You put half a century on this planet. I hope you did something, right? I hope you did something.
I now feel guilty about how easy my life's been to this point.
yeah,
Well, you guys have attempted things that I've never attempted. I've only recently begun to build a business, to think about the responsibility of manufacturing and manufacturing to such a high standard in the firearms business where literally lives are on the line. The firearms are developed, firearms are for one thing, and that's to kill. The training and the shooting on it is really for when the chips are down. Can you defend yourself or can you hunt and kill your meat? Lives are on the line. And to take a manufacturing approach and an engineering approach to such a serious archetypal pedigree. You know, you're the man outside of Kyoto, Japan, 700 years ago, 600 years ago, folding the swords from Miyamoto Musashi and the Hideyoshi.
yes,
Well, from a utilitarian and use standpoint, I cannot argue with you.
Right on, see?
But there is also a mechanical side of it and a thought process, and I think I personally lay more into that camp where, you know, I'm more interested in the type of mechanism, tilting bolt, delayed roller blowback, long stroke, short stroke, those kind of things, blade ejector, button ejector. That is a lot more fascinating to me than
The minutia.
the application, I think.
Of course, the
I'm
minutia.
the mechanic, not the driver.
It's very, how about this? I am the same way with minutia, with physical culture and martial art. I'm not thinking of beating and killing anybody. I'm thinking, how perfect is my alignment of my pelvic tilt and spine and shoulder relationship to the spring of my muscle, moving forward and still having the opportunity to move laterally. And what is the most essential and efficient state of being, and what technologies that takes in the body. How do I build the technologies in the body, the details in the body, to make that work?
you're a body
I'm
mechanic.
very much.
That's a great
totally,
insight.
I very much like you.
I'd like to tell you what goes through my mind on that subject. Try not to trip going to the fridge and getting back to the couch. That's
Baseline.
sure.
Baseline.
Can I add something to this, Rudy? You know, you came into my life around a time where I was discovering who David Goggins was.
Sure.
And
Legend, SEAL, and Air Force brother.
and I guarantee a lot of our audience knows who he is as well. And you know, it was a kind of a moment where I was trying to discover the unhealthy parts of my life, which there were some very apparent ones.
It's okay.
But getting to know your philosophy on what you just described, as well as the nutrition aspect and all of that.
The rest and recovery, the nervous system aspect. Mike, do you ever get burned out nervous system wise because the brain and the mind, and you're working hard on projects and or on top of that have business. What do you call it? What do you call when you're doing the back of the house business? What do you call that? Administrative stuff. Does it sometimes burn you the fuck out, and then you notice that you're either grumpy or you're not sleeping right, or maybe your recall and your sharpness starts slipping? Do you notice that? Because I notice it in me.
For me, I get stressed, and then I need something to disconnect.
Yes.
Like I'll focus on maybe some hand loading that doesn't require a lot of mind, but a lot of technical physical movement, so you don't pinch your fingers.
We could call that Zen Buddhism.
I'll work on a truck or something like that.
Yeah, we could call that Zen Buddhism. Mundane tasks to offset physical energy to then calm the mind.
I need to turn the brain off without, going to like some kind of self-medication or something.
I hear you.
A positive, healthy direction of a repair or
it's beautiful.
Some kind of fix.
That's a great way to put it right there. Repair, a fix. Even there, it's showing your character and what's truly important at your base level is to help and provide. That's awesome, brother. Don't ever lose that. And anytime you all have a chance to inspire that in others, you should. That is a very heavy thing that not many people in this modern world do. Because the world's happening so fast.
I think most people lose themselves in a feature film or game show or whatever your venue is on the TV
NFL.
Or shopping.
Internet surfing, but I like to accomplish something that'll make my life better.
That's right.
Push the needle forward. I loaded a bunch of 9mm because I can't afford it like everybody.
That's what I hear. That's what Jade
feel
says.
Good.
Yeah, Jade's with Blackwater, right, with a 9mm, and even they don't have any ammunition either.
Yeah, they're missing a component or something to load it.
Something's going on.
Just like I am. They have no primers or something.
Oh, wow.
Well, Rudy, where can our audience find you? Real Rudy Reyes on Instagram.
Yes.
And then
RudyReyes.com on my webpage, and it's just a beautiful little bio and some photos and some links. But most importantly, forceblueteam.org. I rebuild coral reefs now with my commando skills. With
awesome.
Yeah, thank you. With other warriors from all services, all special operations warriors. And we save turtles. We rebuild reefs. We do massive cleanups in harbors and in beaches. We do rescue missions.
Guys.
It is incredible. Forceblueteam.org. And
get
you
a
can
T-shirt.
Oh yes, and then of course I got my Radioactive, the RR, the human element.
Yes,
the human element. And you know what do you remember, Mike? There's isn't it the atomic number that's in the corner?
Yeah,
about protons and neutrons, right? The atomic number,
periodic chart.
Yes. So it's a periodic.
Yeah, I think so.
So my atomic number is infinity. How?
Mine's just an X.
Yeah,
mine's
Pappas
.0001.
Oh, can you see? We got to do, brother, with Pappas, we've got to do the horn rim glasses and the goatee and the suit, white shirt, black tie. And the Malcolm X, it needs to be Pappas X, and it's just him looking off into the distance. Pappas X.
Okay. I thought you were describing Gordon Ingram or a young Eugene Stoner there for a minute.
Well, legends, of course, in your
what
world.
I was thinking.
Actually, that was great. That's great. Oh, and you tell him, brother, back channel about the Browning story I told you yesterday about from Browning high power to 1911 and fighting the freaking the Filipinos and those little holes just going right through them, and those Filipinos ready to freaking hack and stab, slice and jab.
That was a good story at dinner last night.
Yeah,
Tassin just entered the room, guys. He's talking to Tassin right now.
Right on, Tassin. And brother, I had no idea that freaking Browning was from here.
Yeah, he's a Utah boy.
I had no idea.
Mormon. I think he was born in Ogden, I believe.
Wow, incredible.
So we're coming up to the end here. Do we want to do a little shout out to our sponsors real quick?
Please.
I'm sorry with Rudy, it got a little crazy there at the start. okay, we've gone back to the food club.
Yep.
Like to thank them for re-engaging with us, and we still have 2 shows in a row. Musket Powder officials still with us.
Yes. This is
That's
going
almost
somewhere.
a record.
Yes.
Okay, let's try to keep
Should
it
I
up.
plug it as? I mean, this is good stuff. I should plug it too.
You should.
I'll do a cutie from me to
It's
Udy.
great
I'll plug it
spice, and
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
wonderful.
Musket Powder,
and the
Rudy, we
Musket
need to
Powder
get him
dude's
some.
cool.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And then I'll do a little call out Riker Grip, who's changing the game.
Known as Ronnie No Good, a legend in the Recon community and MARSOC community. Ronnie No Good. Ronnie Holmes, magnificent human being, real operator, created this grip.
You can pick it up.
Yes, let me show you a little something, y'all. Let me show you a little something.
Tune into our YouTube
Make
if you
sure
want to
I'll
see this.
talk into the mic.
Yeah, there you go.
His mindset is, no, not his. A combat mindset is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And the more redundancy and the more simplicity, as opposed to adding more things, simplifying more. This is where the Riker grip came from, right here. So now first imagine in an athletic stance or fighting stance, whether you have a firearm, an assault rifle, or a pistol, or a blade. This here, this triangle structure, like you would know in Wing Chun or the Six Elbows Kung Fu, this is the structure. So the struggle is in wanting to achieve more stability on the lead end of that weapon for snappy, fast trigger pulls, which, by the way, in combat, I got to be honest with you, every time I was fighting and killing somebody, that's not really how you do it. You are measured, and then you have your machine guns there to do the fast stuff, right? So this grip here is not ergonomic for any physical motion of any sort outside of a assault rifle weapon system. I'm a gymnast. I'm an athlete. I'm a martial artist. I've never used this grip. I've never been in this situation physically ever. Right? I have been in this situation. 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 So this Riker grip, look at, and I'll point this in a safe direction here. Look at the ergonomics here.
Nice.
Now you have
Interesting.
all of the benefit of controlling the end of the weapon system. And as we talked yesterday, brother, fatigue for the fighting man is bullshit. If you can't engage just like this in a firefight, then you're a weak body and you don't belong in the fucking thing. But for regular folks and women, smaller people, this ability here is very similar to this ability here, or here, or here. As opposed to, if I can fake it,
It makes sense.
as opposed to whatever the fuck these people are doing.
C-clamp. Yeah. Yeah, in a guy that's
the birth,
injured.
That's the birth of the Riker grip. He is now taking it further with comm systems and light systems set up with it. So now you're doing one less thing. Instead of being on the radio here or here, it's happening here.
That's cool.
Yeah, in the light and laser system through here. So Ronnie No Good, Ronnie Holmes, Riker grip.
Yeah.
How was that?
That's awesome.
I kind of want one now. That's
Give
how
it a
that
shot.
was.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna notice fatigue and how ergonomic it is to be on target, and just in general how the whole system of the body will be less fatigued, so you'll be able to train longer.
I tore my pec. I've had multiple issues with
bless you,
shoulder,
yeah.
so that alleviates a lot. Crazy thing is I forget what it was. It was a belt-fed heavy machine gun.
Yes.
Threw one of those on it, and it felt normal.
You felt like Jesse
light.
the Body
Yeah.
Ventura in
Yeah.
Predator. I ain't got time to bleed. I'm a sexual tyrannosaurus.
Well, thank you again, Rudy, for joining us.
Can't thank you enough for being on, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Such an honor.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and you guys will see me again. And maybe next time with Jade and I together.
Yeah.
Because
We would love
she's a
to have
rock
her.
star.
Yeah.
She's the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks again. Have a nice rest of the week.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with all your home slicers.